Well, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Morning Java, brought to you as always by our friends at the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where, yeah, it's fresh too. Let's talk a little bit about the Penguins. We're in Winnipeg, and your favorite hockey team leaves this building with what had to be one of their more satisfying, overall victories.
Yeah, speaking of fresh, these guys, they look really good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just this game in Winnipeg. They're building up now. They're starting to play some good hockey. They went out there against a good goalie, a team with a really, really good shooter.
Normally a good goalie.
Goalie.
Connor Hellebuck wasn't good.
But yeah, we thought it would be a win to get a point. And,
Yeah.
and they came out and they got three.
Yeah, and they did it in a way that lends confidence, you would think, to not necessarily the very next night in Denver. That's going to be a massive challenge just on all kinds of other logistical ways. But it lends confidence toward what they're building. That's what you're getting at here,
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Especially because you look at the secondary scoring. It's just unreal. You get 3 goals from guys that don't normally contribute.
Right.
And now we've seen Zach Aston-Reese scored his second goal on the year, which, he hasn't been up here that long, and he's a guy that they might be able to get some of that from.
We also saw blocked shots. We saw commitment. We saw the Penguins staying a lot inside the middle of the rink, staying tight.
Yeah. They even trapped your favorite thing.
Yeah, whenever.
Small trap.
Yeah, small. They're so bad at it, though, that it almost doesn't even count. There was a real commitment. And the most impressive part of that for me, the commitment, is that it came even though they were down, even though things worked against them. That's not easy to sustain.
No, it's not. And as you wrote about, they send a little guy, Jake Gensel, out there with maybe some of the biggest heart of them all.
Yeah, and biggest something else of them all, as the coach wasn't exactly shy about sharing.
Well, John, a couple of smaller moves on the Pirates staff front. They let a few coaches go, and now they've got 2 new hitting coaches in the organization. Tell us a little bit about the new hires.
Well, they hired Rick Epstein a little earlier this month. He was the Minnesota Twins minor league hitting coordinator the previous 2 seasons, and he was the Washington Nationals big league hitting coach for 5 years, a few years back now, 5 years since he's been in the big leagues. So he has some experience, and then they hired Jacob Cruz just recently here as the assistant hitting coach, and Jacob was the Cubs minor league infield instructor, and he was also a journeyman outfielder for 9 years in the big leagues. Also played in Korea, played in Mexico. So a well-traveled former first-round draft pick.
Knows how to hit in a lot of countries. Then,
he does. He can hit in many languages.
A good thing to point out, I think, for some people is what exactly does a major league team need 2 hitting coaches for?
Yeah.
Sort of break down what those guys do.
Yeah, I know it seems odd, and people will ask me that. Well, an assistant hitting coach, why? What's that? What's he do? But really, when you're around it, it's one of those. If you're not really on the inside and see the day-to-day operation of things, it's certainly an understandable question, and I would have it myself. But hitting coaches probably put in the longest day of anybody, maybe even more than the manager some days, because guys always want to come out and hit early, either hit the cage or hit on the field early. So a lot of times for a 7 o'clock game, a hitting coach is there by noon. That is how early he gets there. Okay. And you usually have 12 to 13 hitters on a team. And, if all those guys want extra work at once, well, you can't give all 13 players extra work. So the assistant hitting coach helps kind of function as far as scheduling hitters for times in the cage, times on the field, and also to help give advice and follow out the hitting coach's game plan.
Let's talk flex scheduling in the NFL. Just for the fun of it. No, because it's an interesting thing. There's no other sport that has something like it. And it basically gives networks the right to demand certain games be moved to their slots, or in the reverse,
protect
certain games, like Steelers-Patriots that's coming in the middle of December. That's a weird system. First of all, what is their top priority? What are they looking for more than anything else? And don't just say ratings.
They want the best games and the teams that will produce ratings.
Yeah, it's not always the same thing.
It's not always the same thing. Like when the Steelers play the Bengals, or when the Steelers play Cleveland, that could be an attractive game to the networks, given what the Steelers are doing, because the Steelers are always going to get the TV numbers.
But if it's let's say, for example, I'm just making one up here. Chargers versus Texans, two teams that are doing really well. No one will care because no one in LA cares about the Chargers. They're still San Diego's team. And, I mean, Houston's a big market, but, I don't know if the Texans are going to be some kind of national
It's
draw.
probably not as big as UT.
Yeah, there's
University of
not,
Texas
there's
football.
not a signature element to the
Right.
Houston Texans either, where you think right away, I have to watch
But
that
it's
because
it's not the Packers, it's not the Bears, it's not either the New York teams, it's not the Steelers, it's not those
amazing,
teams, the
too,
Patriots.
But it's amazing though that you throw out the Packers right away though, because it just obliterates the market size agreement.
Yeah, I
because
mean, it's a
they're north
nationwide,
for sales.
yeah. Right.
They might as well be in north for sales. But they have Aaron Rodgers, they have the brand, they
And
have
they've got the
cheese
history,
heads,
yeah. They
and
got
everything else.
They've got fans all over the country, much
Right.
like the Steelers, much like the Bears, much like the Patriots. Those teams are big sells. There's some other ones. The Denver Broncos are a team that are a regional team. They take in, Montana and just that whole Midwest region. So you're going to get those teams more in the primetime games than others. And when they start talking about flexing these things, for example, when the Steelers game recently was flexed against the San Diego Chargers, we were told initially that game had been protected by the state by KD
Sure.
or CBS, I should say, and then NBC comes in and says, "Hey,
we want it.
We want it. What do we need to do here? What games do you want from us?
Let's make a little
What-
deal
what
here."
can we do
So
to make
they
this
hang
happen?
They hang on to Steelers Patriots. By the way, I love the fact that you said San Diego Chargers because that's all they should
always-
ever be
they
called.
will always
San
be San
Diego
Diego.
Chargers.
They'll
Superchargers,
always be.
actually.
Yes.
Superchargers.
Give San Diego back their football team."